Hi everyone, I'm Steve Wolford, News 3. All this week I've been bringing you a series of reality check reports on tourism. We happen to be in a pretty big slump right now, and it's important because without a doubt, tourism is the lifeblood of our economy. It's our economic engine responsible for supporting thousands of jobs and services. So what we're doing now is we're going to put all 5 of those reports together on one reel so you can watch it all at once and get a better idea of what's happening right now. Here you go.
I was very concerned because it's slow. When I drive down the strip going to work in the morning, and I barely see visitors out there.
Shalia Taylor is a housekeeper at Aria.
When I'm clocking in the morning, I look, I'm like, wow, it's pretty empty in here.
She's seen the slowdown.
So when you start not to see a lot of people, you start to worry, and this is the time I'm worried.
And there's good reason to worry. The COVID restrictions across Nevada were lifted in June of 2021. In that year, we saw about 32 million visitors, up 69% over 2020. In each year since then, 2022, 23, and 2024, when we reached over 41.6 million, our visitor numbers have continued to grow. But through June of 2025, the visitor numbers have plunged by over 7% compared to the first 6 months of last year. But why? Culinary Union leader Ted Papageorge blames the White House, calling it a Trump slump triggered by hostile feelings overseas that are hurting international tourism, especially from Canada, and illegal immigration policies.
So do you think that people who would ordinarily come here for the weekend right now are just a little uneasy about leaving California?
Well, that's what we're hearing, and that's what we're hearing from certain companies that have reached out to us. Look, what the fear is that this riling up the economy, this idea of mass deportations, mass tariffs, would bring on a slowdown.
But economist Mike Pequane believes it's more than that.
Well, we have economic uncertainty among the people that live in America, right? We have inflation that has caused people problems in the last few years. We have higher interest rates. We have things like that are causing people to wonder if they are going to be okay to spend money on recreation. Then we have international issues. We have international immigration and political issues that seems to have caused a decline in international visitors.
Those numbers are equally concerning. According to the latest passenger totals from Harry Reid International Airport, 272,390 international passengers came through the gates in June. That's down a whopping 10% over May, 10% over June of last year, and 1.4% year to date, and a 4% drop in international and domestic passengers combined. The uncertainty felt all the way from the airport to the hotels.
I'm worried. Like, what are we going into? What's going to happen?
We hear it all the time. Tourism is the economic engine that drives the local and state economy. That's why when that engine isn't firing on all 8 cylinders, everyone feels the pain, and some a lot more than others.
So I have 3 things going on for my business.
Jimmy Singh runs Las Vegas Souvenirs and Gifts, and the soft tourism numbers are rounding out his trifecta of financial terror. His business takes a hit because of his location on Koval. It's right in the heart of the F1 street closures. Nearly all of his merchandise is imported and subject to tariffs, and now
I saw that also for now, the tourism is less than, last year's. We see like a 30 to 40% down.
Jimmy says foot traffic through his gift shop is way down.
We ask all the time, so where you from? And, we talk nice. And this year I didn't see that many for people is coming from overseas. So I saw less, very less.
And he says a big chunk of his customers are, for now anyway, choosing to stay north of the border.
Canada is more worse too, actually. We have like lot for Canadians, lot. Everywhere I see the Canadian, and now no.
So what do those tourist dollars really mean for Nevada's bottom line? According to Applied Analysis and the Nevada Resort Association, tourism has a $98 billion economic impact on Nevada. It supports a fourth of all jobs, generates 22% of all wages, and pushes 34% of the tax dollars into the general fund, resulting in a $3,000 reduction in the tax burden per household.
I think that the mood in Carson City, especially toward the end of the session, was gloomy. As the numbers began to roll in as the reality of what the forecast was going to look like.
Alan Feldman is the Director of Strategic Initiatives at UNLV's International Gaming Institute. He says when tourist-driven revenues from gaming and the resorts come up short, state lawmakers aren't usually inclined to raise taxes, so the burden is felt by all of us.
I think in Nevada, the more historic response has been cutting programs, reducing programs. So it's not just politicians who are concerned. I'm confident there are teachers who are concerned. There are library staff who are concerned. There are hospital staff who are concerned. I think we're more likely to see those kinds of things first before anyone gets real about increasing a tax of any kind.
But is this tourism skid part of a cycle or the new normal? Some are afraid it might take a while for more Americans to become financially comfortable again to take a Las Vegas vacation, and for international tourists to let some hard feelings subside.
People thinking a different way now. So used to, I can say, everybody love for America. And now a lot of things they don't.
So what can be done to put our tourism numbers back on track? We'll hear from Governor Joe Lombardo, Senator Jackie Rosen, and others when we continue our Las Vegas reality check. That'll be coming up tomorrow night on News 3. I'm Steve Wolford. Back to you.
Right now, we're obviously in the doldrums, right? The tourism is down, revenue is down.
Governor Joe Lombardo cutting straight to the chase on the reason a drop in tourism is concerning. According to the Nevada Resort Association, of Nevada's $6 billion general revenue fund, the hotel casino industry kicks in $2.1 billion, a whopping 34% of the total. But Alan Feldman with UNLV's International Gaming Institute says the tourists who visit our hotels and casinos also drop money in other areas of the economy.
It's not just gaming tax, it's not just room tax, it's sales tax, it's property taxes. There's a lot of the state's economy that's tied up in our tourism sector.
And after 4 consecutive years of growth after the COVID lockdowns, visitation is down so far this year by over 7% compared to the same time last year. But why?
Some of these Trump policies, it's the tariffs, it's the chaos, it's the uncertainty of the costs of things, what's going to be happening, the regulations, all of that.
Senator Jackie Rosen believes people are reluctant to travel right now.
You're going to just save your money. You're not going to go on a vacation. You're saying, we better stay home because we don't know what's going to happen. The uncertainty of all of this chaos, it creates not only anxiety, but it keeps people home from spending their money, either business travel or personal travels.
Governor Joe Lombardo agrees to an extent, but also believes it's cyclical.
Well, it's a lot bigger question versus just what are we doing now to fix the numbers. So, the onus would be, Vegas through history is cyclical because, our funding is discretionary when people make decisions on their livelihoods versus coming to Vegas for entertainment. That's a critical decision in our economy.
Vegas, truthfully, has always been up and down. That's part of our history.
Clark County District E Commissioner Tick Segerblum, who represents constituents around the Las Vegas Strip, has seen downturns and rebounds before. He thinks another reason for the current slump lies on the other side of the California state line.
I'm not sure if that's their economy, but again, people going on vacation, they're very price sensitive, and so if the economy is suffering, they may not want to come here. If it's immigration's an issue, they may not want to travel. So we don't really know what's behind the numbers, but just know that if you live in California, you're going to be welcome here in Nevada.
There is none. There's no likelihood. It's too expensive. Everything, fees, everything is too expensive.
Local, Regina Knight has just summed up the odds of her taking a little staycation on the Strip, but she does remember the good old days.
I used to come out here and vacation and prices was good, but I've been here for 2 years, so no, it's crazy now.
But is that really the case? It all comes down to timing, your willingness to shop around, and some extremely deep analytics on the part of the big resorts. So let's start with the numbers. According to the LVCVA, the average room rate on the Strip in June was $174, $87 a night downtown. That's actually down slightly year over year downtown and almost 7% on the Strip. But how can that be if room rates seem to be skyrocketing? That's where it gets complicated.
It's like a grease pole. It's just constantly moving around.
Resort and gaming expert Alan Feldman with UNLV's International Gaming Institute says the average daily room rate is lower right now because there are still a lot of moderately priced hotels on the Strip. But the big resorts use experience and analytics to get the biggest bang for their buck.
And the exact same room that is $500 one night is $200 the next. So those numbers move around a lot. So all of the hotels, not just the big ones, all of them are trying to manage that inventory as best they can.
And he says they're only going to be more efficient at pricing with AI.
AI is going to drive pricing decisions. Well, yeah, but in a sense it already is. It's been data analytics leading the way now for at least a decade, maybe more. And what AI is going to do is make it more precise and do it faster.
But Feldman and local economist Mike Pequeen also see something else in play that will likely have a huge impact on room rates.
What we have also seen, however, in the last several years is that the larger resorts in Las Vegas seem to be attempting to transition to a different type of market, to a more luxury, more expensive offering. So that's one of the big things you hear people talking about is that Las Vegas is more expensive. It's not a deal anymore.
Now, what's absolutely true is at the very high end, where none of that existed years and years and years or decades ago, that feels really unusual. Who on earth ever heard of spending $600 or $700 a night for a hotel room in Las Vegas? That was ridiculous. Well, that was before there was Bellagio and Palazzo and Aria and others.
I want to be clear, I don't think hope is a strategy. Across the board.
If anyone has a finger on the pulse of Las Vegas tourism, it's Jeremy Aguero with Applied Analysis. He says the resort industry and the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority are already repositioning our destination to prosper in this time of economic uncertainty.
Does that mean that we're not going to go through some type of economic downturn? Does that mean that we're not going to have a correction? Absolutely not. Las Vegas is not today and has never been recession-proof. But what we are and what we have is a remarkable ability to reposition ourselves as the economy moves.
A big part of our economy moves to Las Vegas each weekend from Southern California. So what's happening with those tourism numbers? As of June, the average number of cars crossing the state line continued a multi-year slide. But Aguero says other factors are in play, like more airline flights to Las Vegas, more Californians also planning shorter vacation windows, being spontaneous, coming in to catch a concert, especially with more artists in residency.
One statistic in a silo, and you get kind of what we've seen over the past week with, oh my gosh, there was one article that essentially said, is hell freezing over because tourism was unstable.
And to help with a rebound going forward, Las Vegas also has something no other city can touch. We rule the world when it comes to big events. Who else can pack WrestleMania, a Formula One race, 2 NASCAR weekends, Electric Daisy Carnival, NFL, NHL, and more into a single calendar year?
We also know that when someone comes for a special event, 2 things are important. Number 1, they have a tendency to spend more than just a traditional leisure traveler. And number 2, for major concerts, I'm talking about Beyonce, Taylor Swift, BTS, things like that, 90% plus of the people that are coming and going to T-Mobile or going to Allegiant Stadium say they wouldn't have come to Las Vegas otherwise.
Alan Feldman with the UNLV International Gaming Institute says Las Vegas has always been event-driven, and the growing number of residencies will also help with the rebound.
It's only going to get more important in the future. So what happens when Sphere announces a brand new residency? 18,000 people are buying tickets. At least maybe 9,000 are now buying hotel rooms and food and maybe other shows and some retail and some gaming. But that's critical. We've got to be able to continue to do that.
I will, of course, continue to follow this very important story as it unfolds. We'll let you know what the LVCVA is doing, and we'll also keep following the tourism numbers through the coming months, so you can stay with News 3 for the very latest on what's happening with tourism, the economy, and our visitors. I'm Steve Wolford, News 3. Thanks for watching.